Yeah. Since 2019, we've been building mindset and purpose for real estate agents, entrepreneurs, leaders, people becoming more than they were yesterday.
Monday through Friday we rise. We win the morning, we win the mind. Faith over fear, pressure into purpose, confidence built through the work. Something good is gonna happen to me. Something good is gonna happen to me. I don't need all the answers, I just need belief. Becoming who I'm called to be, making impact bigger than me. God first, doubt steps back. When it gets heavy, we figure it out. You're not here by accident, you're part of the story. Stepping strong, stepping faith. Let's get your mindset right.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning to you all. Happy Tuesday to you. I hope you all are having an amazing start to your week. Say happy Tuesday in the chat. Say happy Tuesday in the chat. What up, Jackie and John and Chet, Latrice, Dennis, Lashai. Good morning to Lachey. Good morning to you. Tiffany, always a pleasure seeing you. What up, Paul? Jesse, good morning to you. Good morning to those of you. I just saw you on the prayer call, and thankful that to lead today in the prayer call. We had great turnout today in the prayer call. So thank you all for being on there and leaning into that. Today's topic, for those that are taking notes, is the answer you're looking for is at the bottom of the pool. The answer you're looking for is at the bottom of the pool. And today's message comes from this book, The Bottom of the Pool by Andy Andrews. A really short read, nothing crazy on this one, but it's a great book that I really liked, and I wanted to pick it back up again. And so when I was reading, it's kind of funny. I don't know if you guys can see it, but like I have notes in there. You can't see it. That was that was not a very good display opportunity right there. But I had notes in my books and um but anyway, so yeah, so that's what today's topic is going to be coming from this morning. And when I was doing it, I put it into chat, and I didn't like the way that it came out in the order. So I have 10 things I'm going to be sharing with you. I don't know if I'm going to get through all 10 today, so there might be a part two version of it. I didn't like the order they're in, so I'm going to be kind of putting them in the order that I felt when I was reading it that was really important to me, and how I was able to at least resonate, or not resonate, relate it to just like life in general. So hope nobody's really gonna get bent out of shape, because you really don't know the number order, so it doesn't really matter. It's kind of like weddings. Like, you don't really know like what went wrong, because you don't know, you weren't there at the start of it. And I was like, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna work out, just like this is. So we'll get started here. So good morning, everybody. Good morning to y'all. Happy Tuesday to you. My name is Coach Brock Zevan, life coach, business coach, real estate agent, and a DAD. So one of the things, not to start off on a bad note, but a learning note. So I think I was telling Latrice maybe yesterday. Yeah, I was telling Latrice, because we were talking about a deal that we were working, and she says to me, or I got the $2.6 million listing appointment that I wanted, and those that put in airplane in my Facebook post. Yesterday was a crazy day today, so I'll be working on that today. And what I've realized is, for those that are just on a side note version, because that's what made me think of it, was the summer camp AI. I had 5 people, 4 or 5 people sign up yesterday. So I can't do it unless I have 10 people because it makes it worthwhile to have 10 people on there. So for those of you that get the prompt and or the report, just know that it's not going to make as much sense to you unless you understand the vision and the why behind it. So if you are still interested in the summer AI starting next week, it's 1 hour every day, Monday through Friday. If you are interested, put summer in the chat and I'll send you over the information. And so just to let you know on that. But I did not get the deal. I did not get the listing yesterday. So just not to start off on a negative note, but I did come in second place. So I was kind of laughing to myself when he says, he's like, man, I really loved you. I like what you got. You like our 4 people, you came in second. And I said, yes, but I don't think there's any type of consolation on the second prize. Like I don't get like any special, any percentage of the first place prize over there. So we were kind of laughing at it. And when I was talking about after the listing, Wendy and her kids, because we had the birthday party, they're like, did you get the listing? Well, what'd you get? I said, here's the thing. I said, I could BS with the best of them. I really can. I think I got an A in BSing, but the problem is he has an aviate like he has a hangar, an airline hangar, and there's a lot of questions I really don't know about. And I tried to pretend, not pretend. I said, listen, I can go in AI, blah blah blah. So there's certain things that you know what you're just not going to get every listing or whatever one. It kind of stings a little bit because you never want to lose. But at least it was because I didn't know enough about aviation. Like I really don't. I don't know anything about aviation. I would have to like look up every question and like I didn't know what type of planes can land there, what type of airline and blah blah blah. But it's still fun. I enjoy listing presentations. It's one of the things I truly enjoy to do, but it also helped me create this report that I was able to do yesterday, and hence the prompt of what I created. So, long story short, didn't get it, but I learned because now I got a report on how to be able to help you all do really, really good in getting your listing presentations, even though second place does not get you any money. But here we go. So, um, where was I going with this? So, yeah, so that's what happened in the real estate world. Don't have my kids this week. Now let's go to our affirmation. Our affirmation. Everybody come off of mute. Jennifer, Heather, Michelle, John, everybody come off of mute. Come off of mute. And on the count of three. On the count of three, let's all say it together. Really feeling it, really meaning it today on this Tuesday. Maybe somebody on here needs a little lift or pick me up on here. So on the count of three, we'll all say it together. One, two, and three.
Something
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 good
good is
is
gonna
good is
going
going
happen
to
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 happen
happen
to
me.
to
me.
me.
Something
Something
good is
Something
gonna
good
good
is
happen
is
going
to
to
me.
going to
happen
happen
through
through
me.
me.
Amen.
Damn, that was terrible. That was terrible. I'm just gonna be honest with everybody. That was not one of our best ones on there. And me being a coach, we're gonna do that one more time. Jay, could you bring that on there? Because like we can't. That'd be like when I coached football, they would run the play. I'd be like, run it again, run it again. We're gonna keep running it. Everybody, come off of mute, come off of mute. We're gonna say it again. John Hart he gets fired up when I do this. John Hart gets fired up. I know Noah does. On the count of three, for those you're like, I'm not gonna do it again. You come off of mute, come off of mute. On the count of three, one, two, and three.
Something
Something
good
Something
good
good
is
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 gonna
going
going
to
to
happen to
happen
happen
me.
to
to
me.
me.
Good
Something
is going
good
to
Something
Something
good is
good
happen
gonna
is
to
going
happen
to
me.
through
happen
me.
through
through
me.
me.
Today.
All right, that was much better. Now, if I was on the practice field, I'd probably say run it again, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that today, but we're just going to continue to move because it was a little bit better. And you know who all saved you? John Hart. Look at John Hart, what he put in the chat. John Hart beat me to it. He beat me to it. For those of you, it's your first time being on here. I've been asking people to lead by example by putting your phone number in the chat every single day to reach out. Somebody could have a conversation with you. Somebody might be like, I need to talk to this person. How many people might be feeling not so good? How many people might be wanting to gain business? How many people want to have referrals? How many people just want to have a conversation with like-minded people? And that's why I love John Hart by you leading by example, not only because you show up for the last 3 years every single day, maybe it's even longer than that, but putting your phone number on there, because now look what you did. You lead by example and you got people putting their phone numbers in there. So hats off to you, John Hart. Your answer is at the bottom of the pool because you lead by example. So today's message all is through that book. See, and if I tell everybody, I gotta put my phone number in there too, so that way you all have it. So there's 10 key things, and the reason why I like the book, not because it was a very simple, easy read that you can literally read very quickly, um, but it has a lot of key points. All right, I want you to put a me in the chat, an ME in the chat if you have kids, had kids, meaning like they're grown up now, but if you had kids, okay, put like right now, um, Kimberly or Crystal and Noah, you're going to have some kids, so like you can put me in the chat, but anybody who's had kids, got kids, and I want you, and the reason why I like the book is because he does a lot of things as a parent when it comes time for when we have children and at a pool, okay? And one of the things that always take place that I want to relate, how many of you have had to watch other kids at the pool? Meaning like maybe you had a friend over or you've had a family member come on over with the pool and they're young. My sister just did this to me. I'm like, Bryce is 7, but she says, my sister Lisa says to me, now does Bryce know how to swim? I was like, he's 7. He better know how to swim. We have a pool for crying out loud, Lisa. Like, yeah. But what do you do as a parent when you have another unknown that you're not around? We want to make sure the scene, like, do they know how to swim? Do they need to have a life jacket? Do I need to be like lifeguard patrol over here? Do I have to have the shepherd's hook? Do I have to get them like the muscles on their body? Like what do I need to do? Because we want to do what? What do we want to keep them? Somebody put in the chat or come off of mute. What do we want to keep them? There you go, Jennifer. She's screaming it, even though she's on mute. I see her. Safe. Want to keep them safe. And how many of us, with their own children, you might have heard this. Guys, get a little bit, especially if you're at a lake. See, I was from upstate New York, the Finger Lakes and everything else. Especially when we first went up there and Brielle was still little. Bryce was like a little baby. But guys, it's a little too far. It's a little too far. Come back, guys. It's just a little too far out. Could you guys come a little bit what? Come in the shallow end. Come where it's safe. I can get you easier. I really don't even want to go in this pool, but I don't even want to go in this lake. But if I had to go in, you're close by. All right. How many of you, we live around Lake Norman here in Charlotte, Lake Wiley. How many of you would be like, careful, I want you close to the dock. I don't want you out too far. There's a lot of boats. There's a lot of, I want to be where I can what? See you.
See.
I want to be where I can see you. Exactly. And these are all things that we unconsciously do to ourselves as adults, but it might not be in a pool-like setting. And so I wanted to set the stage with you all this morning to kind of understand these concepts because it's very important so you can be like, oh yeah, I get that, right? Because a lot of you knew the answers that I was saying. Fran was screaming it. Jennifer was like saying it out loud. Like we were saying the answers because we know the answers. Yet when we become an adult, the answers, Jackie, become excuses. Okay, I'm going to say that again. It's easy to say the answer is surrounding by a pool, and as we grow up, they become excuses. And excuses sound best to the person who what? Creates them, makes them up in the head. Wow, this sounds like a really good one. You don't understand. I just came in from a late night flight. You don't understand. I just got divorced. You don't understand what my credit card situation looks like. You don't understand and we justify it inside of our heads on why we can or can't do something. And the scary thing about both of them, Tim, and they're both as easy to do, is waking up early. Can you all wake up early? Yes or yes? Can you all not wake up early? Yes or yes? Both are possible. You can and you can't. Be honest with y'all on here. How many of you woke up when you set your alarm? Put a 5 in the chat. Put a 5 in the chat if you woke up exactly when you set your alarm. Now, I want you to put a 7 in the chat if you wish upon a star that you could set your alarm earlier. How many of you would really like to be able to set your alarm? And it could be 15 minutes early, okay? I actually just changed my alarm from 3:57 to now I get up at 4:15. Why I think this extra 13 or these extra 17 minutes are going to make a big difference in my life, I don't know, but they feels a little bit like these 17 minutes, I feel a little bit more at sleep. So I've been getting up at 4:15 on that. So we have a couple 7s. There's a couple honest people on here. Maybe everybody else is just like, no, I like my time. That's perfectly fine. You like your time. I'm not telling you to get up earlier at all. It's just most of the time, especially during the summer, we tend to get on our kids' schedule instead of staying on our work schedule because the kids don't have to get up. So we don't have to get up. And I always find that very fascinating. But here's the first concept, not in any chronological order for those that are taking notes today, based off of everything kind of like I set the stage for on here. And you're going to remember this because we said it many, many times because it's scary. But the first thing is people won't dive. People won't dive. And they won't dive because at a very young age, what do we tell our children not to do? Don't dive, don't dive. How many of us, for liability purposes, it seems like it's like an 8-foot or 12-foot pool, but it still says don't dive? Why? It's because no public pool wants to get sued. We told you not to dive, even though they could dive, but they're told not to. And we keep telling our kids, don't dive, don't dive, don't dive, don't dive. Yet when they go to their first swim lesson and they got to go to their swim meet, what do they have to do? Dive into the pool. I find it very fascinating. I remember Brielle looked at me the first time and she was just like, Dad, I thought you said don't dive. I said, Brielle, don't worry about it. Just dive. You got to win. You got to win. And that's the only way you can win is you got to dive in that pool. So get going. But here's the thing. We are told not to dive because it could be scary. You could hurt yourself. Kind of like sometimes what it is when we get up early and go to bed late. It might not be so scary, but at the same token, it's not easy. I remember the first time you think about it, when you dove or you had your kids dive, was it very simple? Do they just like a Michael Phelps and they're like, boom, wow, that was great. Good job, son. Like, no, like their legs go out first. Their like elbows are in. They're kind of like tucked in because it's what? It's insecure. We're not too sure. See, the thing happens is that when you dive, on the other side of a dive is success, meaning you enter into the pool smoother. It means you glide, you glisten, you get advantage, you get a head start than it is. Because have you ever seen in the Olympics a swimmer, when all people are on the diving dock, there's a swimmer in the water saying, you know what? I'm going to start from here instead of the diving dock. Has anybody seen that? Has anybody seen that? Because I don't know. I've seen a lot of Olympics, but I've never seen a swimmer start at the bottom, like inside the water, and be like, I got it from here. Now, if obviously they're doing the backstroke or whatever else, but that doesn't give them an advantage being already in the water. So sometimes you have to start higher up and you have to enter in a position that might not be so comforting for you. So on the other side of being uncomfortable is your success. On the other side of being uncomfortable is your success. Okay? How many of you today, put a 10 in the chat, have been uncomfortable before? Put a 10 in the chat. Some people are like, oh, hell yeah. I'm like, right now I'm uncomfortable. Right? Imagine if I had some of you come on here and say, hey, some of you would be like, yes, I'd love to have the microphone. And some of you said, hey, Denise, I'd like you to lead the rest of the show for me. right? Some of us, because public speaking makes us uncomfortable. My dad was so nervous as can be last Friday on the show, and I thought being very uncomfortable. I'm not saying because my dad, but I thought he did a really good job because I really didn't know what the hell my dad was going to say. He's never been on Zoom. He's almost 80 years old, and he was petrified, and he gets done with it, and he was just like, that wasn't that bad at all.
He can lead the show any day you're not present.
Well, thanks, John. I will tell him that. You know, the funny thing, John, is he goes, I could have kept talking. I said, I know, Dad. That's why I had to kind of like lean you back. But I did say, I said, well, I'm sure everybody would like you back for a part two and to have him come back. So John, I appreciate you sharing that. But on the other side of uncomfort is the success, and you feel confidence. So I want you to think about that today. Where are you feeling uncomfortable? Now, everybody put phone numbers in here. Yes or yes? Majority of you put phone numbers in here. Maybe is there somebody on this show that you go back up and you screenshot and you tell them where you're feeling uncomfortable? And they could help you. That's what it's all about. That's what it takes is as having conversation. So that was number one that I had. Let me go to number two. Where did I put number two? Okay, number two. The answers are right in front of us. Number two, the answers are right in front of us, meaning they're not hidden. What happens is the answers sometimes are just in the deep end. They're not hidden. Like we all know where the freaking deep end is, right? We say, hey, don't go over there. Watch out. You know, I want you over here where it's safe. The thing is the answers sometimes aren't where we're willing to go. How many of us had a child that they were scared to go in the deep end? They've never been in the deep end, but they're just scared to go in the deep end for everything that they've been told. How many of us as adults are scared to door knock? How many of us are scared to pick up the phone call and call for sale by owners or expireds? How many of us are nervous to do something out of the ordinary? Because it's uncomfortable. We're not willing to go that far. How many of us, now let's just go from a depth perspective, that the water's cold. How many of us that sometimes what we do, we ask our kids, like, man, how cold is it, kids? How cold is that water? Bryce said to me the other day, why don't you just touch it, Dad? I don't know, Bryce, that's a good idea. I could go out there and touch it, but I'm just sitting here, so I just thought I'd ask you. And guess what he says? He says, Michelle, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Now, why does he say it's not too bad? And then I go touch it, David, and it's like, damn, that's freaking cold, Bryce. What are you talking about? Right? Because we each have different experiences when we go to that pool. And the pool for him is what? Pleasure, fun. The pool for me at my age might be a little different. See, we're all in different seasons of our lives. Yes or yes? We all are going through different things in life. And so sometimes some of us on here, a Jennifer, a Jesse, a Latrice, a Leah, a Paul, a Tim, a Tiffany, a Jackie, a Mark. What up, Mark? Their impression, their uncomfort, their willingness. How many of us know those people that go those cold plunges? We're like, damn, those people are crazy. Right? Chet's like, I don't know about this. Latrice is so excited. She came off of mute because she's just like, I got to say something on here. She's all fired up. She's like, I'm ready to go. And see, you see, that's that little strategy I say. Instead of saying, hey, Latrice, please go on mute. I just say that. And I say she wants to talk. And then all of a sudden she goes back on mute. It's
That
funny
was
how
a
that works.
mistake. Yes, it was.
But Chet goes swimming each time. in the morning. Do you know actually the Olympic, when you go swimming, the pool is set at a certain temperature because you actually sweat when you're swimming. The swimmers don't want the water 80 degrees, 85 degrees. At that point, it becomes uncomfortable. They're sweating in the pool. They actually want it cold, but when you go into it, at first it's uncomfortable. How many of us, like when you get into the water, you're like, damn, that's cold. And next thing you know, you're in the water long enough, you're like, oh, that's not that bad at all. It happens many times. Put a me in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. It happens to my dad, and it happens to many of you when you actually get on the other side of being uncomfortable. I want to know how many of you, we're going to use a different number, D. We're going to go with the number 3. How many of you sometimes just get your feet in the water and it's too cold and you get back out? How many of us have been quitting too early and not giving ourselves a chance? Put a 3 in the chat. If that some is you, that you might be quitting too early, gave up a little too soon, should have stayed in the ring just a little bit longer, should have made just that one more phone call. I should have just studied just a little bit longer. Should have went through my vocabulary just a little bit longer. Done one more role play. And sometimes we just have to understand that we just got to keep the prayer call today was about persistence. It was about persistence today. Now, the next one I'm going to share with you is, and I don't have too much time, but I want you to write this down. Go deep, not wide. Go deep, not wide. See, sometimes we see people or we tell our kids to do what? All right, you want to swim across the pool? Sure, just swim across the pool on the shallow side. I don't want you to go swim to the deep end and then come back to the shallow side because that's what? Scary. It's nerve-wracking as parents. So going deep, not wide, means that I want you to understand that I want you to go deeper. Stop trying to do, I'm going to do social media today, TikTok today, I'm going to do a YouTube, LinkedIn post today, I'm going to do this today, I'm going to, I don't even know half this. I'm going to do artificial intelligence today, I'm going to study this artificial intelligence today, I'm doing chat today, I'm doing Claude, I'm going to do newsletter today, I'm going to do note cards today. We do all these things. Yet we come away with like, damn, I didn't get really anything accomplished. How many have heard this line, stay in your lane? Stay in your lane. And I'm not any different than anybody else. I've learned to stay in my lane until I achieve success. And Jay and Rika on here too, many times I'll come in like, this is what we're going to do. I was like, wait a minute. We still didn't even finish yesterday's project yet. Let me still work on this. Let me stay focused on this. Let me dive in a little bit deeper. Let me go a little bit further out. Let me just get to the rope. When I get to the rope, maybe there's an opportunity for me to pause, reflect, and be like, okay, now I have enough footing. Let me continue to go. Because once we get to the deep end, all is it a little bit different. We got to have a little stamina because we can't touch the what of the pool. Can't touch the bottom of the pool anymore. And sometimes in part 2, when I talk about this, in order to push yourself off, where do you have to be in the deep end? At the bottom. And sometimes in life, we're just so scared, or we want to enable people to not get to the bottom. One of the things I've learned when I was dealing with my addiction was people used to say to me, don't slow them down or stop them to getting to the bottom. They need to get to the bottom. It sucks. It's hard, especially when they're loved ones and friends and family, but they need to get to the bottom. I need to get to the bottom. And sometimes we think other people's bottoms it's not up to you all or anybody else. It's up to the person on where they are at their bottom. My bottom could be, my mom probably thought I was at the bottom plenty of times. So today's message all, and I'm going to elaborate more next week on the bottom of the pool, but I strongly suggest if you want, get this book. It's a really good book. So hopefully put a 5 in the chat if you got something out of today. If you didn't get anything out of today, as you know, as always, just for self-confidence, just put a 5 in the chat anyways. Practice the 5 button so that way everybody feels more, or at least I do. And for those of you that put your phone number in there, I really strongly suggest those that go back and scroll up. We'll leave the chat open for a little bit. Call somebody on here. Have a conversation with somebody. Reach out to them. Tell them a little bit about where you've been maybe quitting too early or where you could use some help. And for anybody that is interested in the summer AI starting on Monday, put summer in the chat and let's have a conversation to see so I could show you. For those of you that are going on listing presentations, I'm also going to show you how to do open house on how to use QR codes, because I can't stand when people go and open house. Hey, could you sign into this? Could you sign into this, please? No, they don't want to sign into anything. Give them something to sign in for. If you say, hey, there's $1 million if you sign in, guess how many people you're going to have sign in? Probably 98% of the people, because the value's on the other side of that. Well, like, let me get a chance. So I've come up with some different ways to create QR codes and flyers so you can bring some good material to get people to sign in and get their information. So we'll be doing that for those that are interested in the summer AI. Got to get 10 people on there, so hopefully we can get a couple more. Guys, I appreciate everybody being on here. Thank you all so very much for being here. Tomorrow, we'll be back at 8:15 Eastern Time. Come back, invite some family and some friends to us. Till then, see ya.